Hi, and welcome to Build for the Build and episode 4 of the BoxLoader video series. Sorry for the long wait, but I had other things that took my time away, like a racing chair. When the kids showed interest in sim racing, I had to help that interest along and build this chair. And a project to guide jumps around after breaking an ankle. And an extension to a very old project of mine, my stopwatch, where you can press a button and get a time. But back to the BoxLoader project. I have moved one step further with this project. I had a discussion about the project with a friend of mine, and we talked about the motor needed to move the wagon on the rails. He asked, how much weight do you need to move the wagon on the rails? And I had to come clean. I have no idea. So change the plan and build the rails and mock up the wagon to see how much weight it can take and how much weight I have to use to move it. As always, from question over some thoughts to the build. Well, let's start with some thoughts. How to mount the rails on the sleepers. A sleeper is this one piece on a railway. I had to look it up, so I hope to save you the effort. If you already knew, bear with me. The optimal solution would be this one, as the 45-degree pieces at each side can be moved back and forth to align and fasten the rails in the right place. But this one is outside my tooling capability at the moment. Another solution could be this simple one. The top requires to be leveled down to be able to start drilling the hole, but well, it's manageable. The whole thing had to carry the cart add-on, so I used that for measuring the width of the rails. But I came up with this solution, as I hoped this could also be used for a sleeper along the rails, but more on that later. Let me show you the production. First, a hole in the sleeper for mounting, the lead hole in the rail, the mount hole in the rail. Assembling it off camera showed the hole in the sleeper was way too close to the edge, so one more hole. The test showed it could be done like this. Test works, let's finish up the sleeper and make the other end. Yes, I know, calipers are not normally used to mark on metal, but this is used for only that purpose. All ready to assemble. The wheels for the wagon have been used in another project, so back to their original place. Using the first available piece of wood for testing. I didn't show you that I realigned the wheels with the rails, so loosen the screws, turning the wheels and fasten it again. Loading the wagon for first try. Then I loaded as much weight as I dared. while the whole thing is on the table. And measure the pull force. So using 9.9 kilos to pull 40, that's pretty okay. Next, I had to figure out a way to mount the chain to move the wagon with the motor. But before we get to that, I don't know if you noticed, but the wagon kept rolling, normally downhill, and yes, my table was just a little off level. So the pulling force measured was actually uphill with an incline about 4.5%. When the rails get level, the force should be even less. I had the sprocket chain wheel set up with ball bearing and shaft. So I only had to lift up the ball bearing to get the sprocket clear of the sleeper and mount it, removing the rough edges after cutting to length, measuring out the placement for the holes for the ball bearings and mounting point on the sleeper. Something went wrong, new holes and remount. And then to the test with the chain. To ensure the chain has the same tension all the time, the offset between the chain on the sprocket and the chain mounting point on the wagon must be more level. With a better level, this is how it works. The chain should be kept centered on the sprocket with a couple of knots on the rod. One more thing to remember when reassembling. And then back to my rail mount and sleeper method. The wheel is hitting the bolt and screw. So when I need more sleepers along the rail, I have to come up with another mounting method. But is there a need for more sleepers? The rail is an angle iron of 4 by 4 centimeters with 4 mm thickness. The wagon will weigh around 20 kilos. Time will show. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe so you won't miss the next video.